Welcome back, everybody. Episode 3 of Everybody Needs a Nudge. I am your host, Dan Najarian. This week we have another longtime friend of mine, someone who got a mention in the introduction of Everybody Needs a Nudge, Paul McRae. Paul,
that was
how
at
are
the
you?
540 mark, by the way.
The 540 mark. So it took me 1/3 of the way through the intro to get to Paul McRae. Paul and I worked together for the better part of 8 years. When I opened Najarian and Associates in 2009. But before we get to Paul, I want to tie up one loose end because when I had the podcast with Mark Gammons, we mentioned a famous soccer coach from Duxbury. Mark Gammons played soccer, and this guy's coaching record is incredible. And you know how I feel about coaching and how important it is to me. So listen to this guy's number. So he coached his name was Foster Cass. Incredible Duxbury name.
What year? What year are we talking?
I don't even have the years, but so Mark graduated a year behind me, so he was 99. This guy started coaching in like the early 80s. He coached soccer, basketball, and tennis. In soccer alone, he had 575 wins, 18 league titles, and 9 state championships. He had 304 wins in basketball.
That's impressive.
And his tennis team went 42-1.
Wow.
Is that incredible?
Is he in the Duxbury Coaching Hall of Fame?
It should be named after him.
Should be called his name high school.
Yeah, exactly. Foster Cass Hall of Fame.
Right.
So I just wanted to close that loop before we got started. So anybody that's been wondering over the last week or so what Foster Cass's record was, that was it.
Was Foster a part of Gammon's Life Nudges?
You know,
how it came up?
No, it came up because he mentioned soccer, and I asked if I hadn't heard about this guy because I coach in Duxbury, so I had heard about this guy Foster Cass. So we got into him a little bit. So, a couple things from my past week. Spent a little time in the hospital. Yeah, Annabelle, my oldest broke her collarbone.
Cheapest.
Playing hockey. So she had surgery on Wednesday, so she's recovering nicely. If anybody the gifts or anything to the house, you can send them over.
You want to flash her Venmo up on the bottom of the podcast before the end of the show?
Put mine up. I'll make sure she gets it. And then I went to the U.S. Open. I spent Thursday at the U.S. Open, which I think you also spent Thursday at the U.S. Open.
I was there. I was super disappointed that we didn't get to connect.
Yeah.
But I had a great time.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Very impressive. For me, though, I think after going to that event, I had never been to a major golf event before.
Had you been to a golf event before? Had you been to like anything local or
like TPC and
no, but not like played the course. I mean, that's pretty cool. But did you go to that event, the TPC event?
No, this is the first major
Professional
PGA event.
Well, but there's two different. A major and a PGA event are two different things.
A major in the sense that it's big.
Okay.
I've never been to a professional golf.
Right. Do you need me to educate you? You got the Masters, U.S. Open.
I understand that.
Okay, the British Open and the PGA.
I've
Those are the majors.
Yeah. I've never
been to a professional golf tournament before.
As a participant, ever.
Of course you haven't been in as a participant. You stink at golf. You wouldn't be there as a patron.
I've never been as a patron.
Okay.
Never been as a patron.
I'm glad we clarified that you didn't play in the event
I did not.
At the U.S. Open.
However, I did have a good time.
Yeah.
It was totally not what I was expecting.
Why?
The thing that got me first, right when I walked in through the gate, was how quiet it was. And I was surrounded by, let's just say, 100,000 people. Yeah. And you couldn't hear anybody.
Yeah.
That was really overwhelming for me in the beginning. And then the other thing that I really couldn't adjust enough to was when I was following around a couple of players, when you're standing under the tee box, some of them are raised up.
Yeah.
And you're staring at, Spieth or DeChambeau, and they're rifling off their tee shot. You can't see the ball.
No.
You have to really be behind them to actually whip your head around quick enough to see where it's going. And it goes so far. I mean, these guys, they're crushing 300-plus yards.
It's amazing.
It really is. And so that I did enjoy going. I don't think I would ever do another one. There's a lot of walking.
So I was there Thursday. I did about 10 miles of walking. I was actually there with Mark Gammons. Two things on the seeing the ball. That day was particularly difficult because it was like an overcast. So it was just firing up into the white sky and the white ball against the white sky.
You couldn't follow it.
They had the guys on the tees kind of with those, those orange
Yeah, they're
paddles.
aiming the path.
Yeah, so you could kind of see that. And what struck me about the whole thing was the size of the property.
Enormous.
Enormous.
And behind, I mean, it was a city operating behind a city.
Yeah.
In the back, and I'll tell you how I really got to know that. But I was just impressed with how long it must have taken to prepare for something like that. It was like an Olympic event.
Yeah.
With trucks and forklifts and beverage carts and food and it was
Merchandise tents and luxury tents.
just about, how about the makeshift bathrooms that had hardwood floors and running water?
Amazing.
They were really nice. I mean, I was super impressed with the whole behind the scenes setup.
The operation of the
operation.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a Ruth Chris restaurant and a Legal Sea restaurant in the trophy tent at 14.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really nice.
Yeah, it's they put on quite a production. It takes up a big chunk of the season for the club.
Oh, it has to.
I mean, they're starting that setup. I don't even know, but you got if it's a June tournament, they got to be there in March, starting
easily.
Maybe even sooner, and it's probably takes them another month
There's
or 6
probably
weeks to break
fall
it.
prep just to get ready for spring prep.
Oh yeah, I mean the planning is 5 years out, but the actual setting up and breaking down. I mean, you don't those members don't see their country.
That course has to be ruined.
Yeah.
The fairway cut throughs.
Well, the U.S. Open the USGA will come in and fix all that.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, even to the left and the right of the cart path, it was like hay.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just destroyed.
Yeah, from all the people walking.
Hundreds of thousands of people walking through.
So that was my That was my week in recap. Maybe that should be a segment here, a week in recap. But so we got, like I said, I got Paul McRae, born and raised in Randolph, right?
Yep, correct.
What's their mascot?
The Blue Devils.
The Blue Devils.
Yep. God's country.
And they haven't made you change it yet.
No.
All right,
I'm
so
surprised.
let's
The logo itself has become more friendly.
less devilish.
Less devilish, if you can say it. More cartoony.
Well, that's like the Tampa Bay Rays, right? They were the Devil Rays, and then they had to get rid of the devil.
Silliness.
Were they going to turn the Randolph Blues?
No, they would never do that.
They could. I mean,
By the way, Super Bowl champs, and the coach got Coach of the Year for the state of Massachusetts.
this year.
This past season, yeah.
What division?
7.
It's amazing how many football divisions there are.
I know.
Based on school size. So tell me a little bit about your upbringing in your family and what was going on in Randolph. So lived there your whole life?
I think we only have 30 minutes before the battery needs to get
Well,
changed. I was born and raised in Randolph. Born in Weymouth. Moved to Randolph when I was 2. So my birth certificate's in Weymouth.
Yeah.
But
you don't have any memories of Weymouth.
No.
You were never a sweaty.
No.
No. Okay.
But it was a great place to grow up. It was a predominantly Jewish town.
Yep.
Growing up, I mean, I've been to more bar mitzvahs than weddings.
Yeah.
In my life.
You were always going to bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs.
And bars.
What's
twins.
a bar?
Twins.
Twins. They have their own name for a party.
The Lassoffs.
Yeah.
And I think it's the bars, but I'm sure I'll get corrected.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
there's twins bar
we'll
mitzvahs.
correct that for the next podcast in the
Walshy, can you look that up?
the view back session. So a lot of Jewish people in that town.
Yeah, and I still really am into the Jewish culture still after all these years. I just went to a Hanukkah dinner this past Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Because my daughter's friend is Jewish, and we had a nice dinner over there in the traditional celebration of Hanukkah dinner style, with all the Jewish foods and soups, and we had a great time. So it's still a big part of my life.
Well, when we were working together, you went to 3 or 4 that I can remember Jewish funerals.
Oh yeah,
And that's a very different experience.
it really is.
Yeah,
Yep.
they cover the mirrors and they have some
shiva. You sit shiva.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
You sit for a week around the family's house, and you grieve. You tell stories, and you eat, and it's like a celebration of life. Immediately following the burial.
And people just come and go.
Yeah, it's an open house.
Yeah.
You take your shoes off, and if you come right from the cemetery, there's usually a water bowl in front of the property before you go in to cleanse your hands of the souls that you were maybe exposed to, as the old biblical beliefs go back then.
Yeah. So did Randolph schools get Jewish holidays off?
Every holiday.
Really?
Grandfathered in. They still do
To this day?
to this day.
Wow.
Yep. Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah. Yeah, they get all those holidays.
So Randolph was having days off when other surrounding towns were not having days off.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
we rode our bikes everywhere, just like every other town, and had a good time.
Yeah,
and
I'm sure. I'm sure.
It was a great place to grow up.
At Randolph High,
Yep.
played some sports there.
Football and track. Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
What position in football?
I was tailback and split end on offense. I was cornerback on defense, and I ran back deep on the receiving team and ran back deep on the punts.
Got it. So
I was quick.
You were the what are they called? Punt returner and kick returner.
Yeah, I mean as well as playing.
Right. No, I'm not saying you were isolated, but that's that
speed demon.
That was one of your roles.
Yeah. I was 4.45, 40 senior year with pads on.
Can't hit what you can't catch type situation.
Yep.
But you didn't go on to play.
No. I started a little bit of track in college and then ended quickly.
And where was college?
UMass Dartmouth.
How'd you end up there?
Actually, a lot of kids from Randolph went there. It was SMU at the time, Southeastern Massachusetts University. It was a nice, close school, easy to get into. A lot of kids from Randolph went there, and I had a lot of friends that were already there when I went. And then a buddy of mine that I graduated with noticed the sheet that comes out. So before you graduate, the high school gave every student a sheet of everyone's name and where they were going. And he noticed I was going to the same school as him, and he asked to be my roommate. And I said, oh, it's great. I know him. He's not going to mess with my stuff. And, he's reliable, and, I can trust him.
You can give me a ride there?
And home? No, I bummed a lot of rides back then. One of them was never from him. Right. But, no, he was a great kid. And, we were roommates. And then I left after the first year.
1 year.
That's it. 1 year.
And then what?
I went right in.
All right. Well, why did you leave? School wasn't for you? Was there something that happened?
It wasn't for me. No, it wasn't for me.
But how did you come to that realization?
I just couldn't stand going to classes anymore.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get back into real life, I think, meaning.
Did you work as a kid? Did you work through high school?
Oh,
did
yeah.
you have jobs?
I worked a lot of jobs. I had a paper route. I worked at Sal's, House of Calzones. I was, mopping floors and doing the dishwasher. I worked at a pharmacy. I worked the front register and helped the pharmacy, when they were slow and they would short on staff. I would help them count pills and put them in bottles. I mean, I was 14,
so you were
15
working.
years old.
You were working.
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
Pretty much all the time.
So that probably influenced your decision. You're sitting there in class and you're thinking, geez, I want to be out making money. I like to work.
I mean, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, so we were tight on budget. I mean, we were middle class, probably middle class, not lower middle class, but definitely not upper middle class.
Yeah.
So I was always bumming money off my parents, especially going to bar mitzvahs. Every weekend you had to get another 20 from them, But yeah, I think I didn't really like school anymore. I wasn't doing great in my grade. I was an art major. I wanted to be an art teacher. That was my goal. I mean, I was pretty artistic and.
Painting, drawing,
all of it. 2D, 3D, architectural, landscape.
Any regrets not sort of pursuing the architectural side of things?
No, I don't have any regrets.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
I know.
Not one.
No, I did well in it. I did. Art history was a struggle for me.
Yeah.
You put 300 people in an auditorium and you shut the lights off, and it's a 2.5-hour class.
Yeah, and 296 of them are sleeping.
And I was one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I failed art history twice. I'm not proud of that, but I don't regret not doing it. I mean,
Yeah. It wasn't for you,
It wasn't for me.
But so, people say, "Oh, that's a waste," and I would say, "No, to me, that's not a waste." You went there.
I got the experience. It was a good year experience.
But you also recognize that that's not for you.
Correct. And not going to waste another $11,000 of my parents' money
for 3 more years.
For 3 more
right?
a year. Back then, it was cheap.
Right.
I mean, compared to now.
Yeah. But that's so that experience isn't wasted. Is my point.
No, I met a lot of great people that I'm still friends with. I had that exposure of being out on my own.
Yeah.
But then the realization of coming back home from being a year away. Now I'm back in my parents' house. Treating it like a hotel.
Right. You're coming and you're going.
And
how'd that go over with the parents?
Not well.
No.
Well,
now you're a 18-year-old, 19-year-old, and
19, yeah.
Maybe in their eyes a little bit of a failure. They got at that point.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
But my 19-year-old, she definitely got the artistic bug because my wife, as you know, she's a graphic designer, has her own graphic design company, and my oldest is going to be a sophomore at Endicott this fall, and she's a graphic design major. So she got the artistic bug as well.
So
And she did well. She's Dean's List both
Nice.
semesters. Yeah, so that was big for us in the freshman year. I mean, you could go either way freshman year.
Yeah.
You could either sink or swim.
Yeah, yeah. But she wasn't gonna sink.
No, she's a great student.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
a good
She
kid.
was always good in high school, all the way coming up. You never,
Yeah,
in
always
all
in
our
art shows.
conversations, we never talked about your kids struggling in school or struggling socially or any of that stuff. So you were lucky in that. I was lucky in that sense. I think Endicott is looking to change their mascot name.
Oh, the gulls?
Oh no, maybe I'm wrong then.
Can't be. There's too many statues of gulls there. They'd have to rip them all down.
Because I'm thinking of the Colonials are trying to. Are they not the Colonials?
The gulls.
They're the Gulls.
And all their little whimsical anecdotes throughout campus, especially during COVID, was like, keep your wing distance.
Oh God.
Yeah,
You're kidding me.
yeah, like, like all flying references
Yeah.
and wings. Yeah, there's a lot of gull references. Yeah.
Okay,
seagulls.
so 19 years old, back home,
Yep.
suitcase. Hi, mom.
Yep.
Hi, dad.
I went right to Boston, Cleveland Circle.
Moved out.
4 months
Gone.
gone. Yeah, I had 5 roommates in a basement apartment in Cleveland Circle, right near City Side.
What years?
God, that would have been 92. 92.
So 92 to 96.
90. Was it 90?
No.
It was 92 or 93.
How many years you lived there?
A year.
Just 1 year.
Just 1 year.
Okay, because I got to BC in fall of 94, but you were gone.
Yeah, I was already gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I
what
would have
did-
been gone in 94 probably that year.
What did you do? What were you doing for work?
I worked for a group home for Mass Association of the Blind, for MAB. And I I managed a
I don't know
group
why I
home
think
for
that.
there were 8 residents, group home residents. There were only, I think, 3 verbal. They were severely mentally handicapped.
How did you get that job?
A friend of mine from high school was the group home manager at the time, and he said, now that you're living in the city, and I didn't have a car, I could take the train right to the group home.
Yeah.
And I worked there. It was a great paying job. I think I was making, God, I want to say it was like $22 an hour back then.
That's good money.
Yeah, and we would do overnights, and you could sleep and take shifts, and you were getting paid to just be there on staff all the time.
Well, actually, knowing you as long as I've known you now, that your personality kind of perfect for that setting, because kind of an upbeat. No, seriously,
Yeah.
upbeat guy.
Yeah.
Always take the positive out of things.
It's super depressing.
Yeah,
It can be.
yeah, I can imagine. But you sort of had that. Your inclination to look at the positive was probably
Yeah.
a good.
Yeah.
And that's another great experience.
Yeah, it was. And I had to become med certified. I was handing out, I was administering them their prescription medicines,
Yeah.
and we had to take a lot of training for ADLs, is like adult daily living things that the kids had to do, like brush your teeth, comb your hair, get dressed, things like that. So
you got some on-the-job training.
a
there.
lot of that, yeah. CPR, first aid, medical dispensing of prescription medicines to the student, to the residents and things like that. Yeah.
How long were you there?
God, I think I was there 2 years, 3 years.
So not that I want to fast forward through your life, but at some point, you get into the mortgage business. When
Yeah.
is that?
So I can get you quickly there because from the group home, I had got burnt out and I took the summer off. And my mother.
What did you do for the summer?
Nothing. It was the summer of Paul.
Summer of Paul. I've heard
Correct.
about the Summer of Paul.
Well, there was
2 summers of Paul.
there was Paulapalooza, which
That's a different one. That's the one I
which-
know about.
Which was way different. But the summer of Paul was just me hanging out with my friends at the beach every day.
These are all your Randolph buddies?
Yeah, and 2 of them, and they worked nights.
Okay.
And so during the day, they had nothing to do.
Which 2 buddies?
I'm not going to say their names, but one of
Why?
them. Just because, I don't know, they.
Let me ask you-
One of them's a respiratory therapist.
So they're having a nice life.
Yeah, and the other one is 35-year post office, walking postman.
The postman, yeah.
He walks.
I think I've met him. Have I not?
Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, I don't think so.
Look
But-
at him covering.
so
That
I
was.
was-
So by the way, that's.
Well,
that,
listen, I
hold
have
on
my
a
own
second.
podcast,
Hold
and
on.
I always warn the guests, just be careful whose name you say.
Yeah.
Because they might not want their name broadcast, ever.
I don't subscribe to
I've
that.
spent hours editing names out of podcasts
I want
on
to
my
say
show.
all the names we can say. Because I want people to listen because they want to hear their name. Because people want to hear their name.
Mike La Liberté was the post office
go.
carrier, and Bill Shattuck was is still a respiratory therapist. Good friends of mine back in the day.
Randolph kids.
No, Mike La Liberté was Brockton, and Bill Shattuck was obviously Randolph.
Got it. Okay.
I met Mike through Bill, and I took the whole summer off. We were at every beach you can imagine, from Nantasket all the way down to Whitehorse.
You're still tan from that summer.
Yeah,
The tan is incredible. He's an incredible tan.
it is pretty good. So my mother came to me and gave me my first nudge. This
Okay.
is my
I
first
love
nudge
it.
in life.
No, there was some. We've talked about some other ones, but yeah.
Yeah, but one of the
This
major
is the
ones.
big. This is one of the big ones.
This got
Capital N.
This got me going into the direction where I am now, and my whole life based on this particular one. She said, "You have 3 choices." She said, and keep in mind, this is the end of the summer. I was already treating my house like a hotel.
Yeah. With maid service.
Gone for days. Oh yeah, gone for days. Come in, change, gone for days.
Yeah.
She said, you can either get a job, move out, or go to rehab. Those are your 3 options. So I said, I'll get a job.
Yeah.
So my family was very good friends with another family who's the dad of the family ran the supply chain management and logistics for a company called Brewster Wall Covering. And I reached out to him because, again, our family were friends, and I said, listen, I could really use a job. And he said, come in tomorrow.
Yeah.
Start tomorrow. So it was a warehouse.
Yeah.
Picking, packing, loading trucks, inventory. Labor. Yeah, labor. And I worked there for 2 or 3 years, but a lot of our friends did. A lot of our friends.
In and out, or were you the consistent one?
No,
that was
there were
always
guys. No, there were guys there that were there probably 5, 6, 7, 8 years that I grew up with, and so it made it fun in the warehouse. And then after like 2.5, 3 years, I worked my way into a sales position. I figured out that I can't be a warehouse guy forever, and I can figure out how to get myself into the office. And at the time, the office and the warehouse never commingled.
They were completely separate.
No one
Church
had ever,
and state.
No one had ever transferred to the other side.
Right.
There was like 1 or 2 guys that did, but you had to start in the warehouse if you worked in the office, just so you could see the operations behind what you were doing in the office.
Mm-hmm.
And that was always like a 1-week training. There were very few, if any, that made it from the warehouse to full-time office transfer.
Got it.
I went.
Oh, you're saying as part of the guys that were in the office had to go work in the warehouse for a week.
Yep.
So they could see how, but they weren't really doing anything. They were just in the way of everybody else.
Correct. They were just side saddling somebody, and like a new waitress.
Getting in the way.
Getting in the way.
Yeah.
So I went the opposite. I went from the warehouse right into the sales after a couple of years, 2.5 years, and so I was in the inside sales department, and that's when I met my wife. Carrie was in the graphic design department.
Got it.
And I was upstairs in the sales office. So just from commingling now in the office, you meet a whole new group of people that you never would have known.
Yep.
And so they.
So there's the nudge.
For my mother to get a job.
Get a job. Meet your wife. Boom.
Well, to get a job that drove me into sales.
Right.
Because I saw what those guys were driving and making.
Yeah.
And
you were like, I'm not humping these boxes for the rest of my life over here.
Yeah, bumming a ride to work.
Yeah.
Bumming a ride
twice
home.
as smart as they are.
Well,
way better looking.
Well, I mean,
can talk better.
If you keep talking like that, my head's not going to fit out of this doorway. But that's that was the nudge that I got to get a job to transfer into sales to meet my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when I became.
She's Dorchester.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dorchester. St. Mark's.
Yeah. Not St. Brendan's.
Not St. anything else.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Saints.
There's a lot of Saints. Yeah.
So I then transitioned into outside sales. I got a company car. I got an apartment. I went to Quincy and I lived there for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then I had some friends who were in telecom making big money in sales. So then when I became the #1 sales rep at Brewster Wall Covering, I realized there's no more where to go.
This is it. I'm maxed out.
I'm making, let's just say I'm making $50,000 a year. Back then at 22, 23, wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, I had friends that were,
making more,
double that in telecom. So I went to Network Plus because I figured if I'm doing sales here, I can do sales there. I'll sell anything.
Yeah.
Selling, local and long distance.
Right.
Business to business. So I did very well there, and I became a manager, and then they got delisted. Yeah, they were trading publicly.
Yeah.
On the Nasdaq, and
What happened?
I believe the reporting to Wall Street
Was insufficient.
was insufficient.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's fine.
I believe.
That's
but
enough.
but now it's Granite Communications.
Yeah.
And now they're the biggest reseller of Verizon in the country.
Yeah.
The Rob Hale was
Yep.
my boss, and
Yeah.
I could go in there today and go walk in his office.
I've
and say
heard
hi to
nothing
him.
but good things about that
He's
guy.
a fantastic
Yeah.
individual, and I still have a lot of friends that work there.
Yeah.
A lot of friends. Actually, one of them was on my show, Steve Iannicone. It's one of my favorite shows because there's a lot of inside humor.
Yeah.
So it was one of the shows that I laughed the most at,
Yeah.
even if other people listening didn't. It
Right.
was just the most entertaining that I had
Right.
as a guest. Steve Iannicone over at Granite, and he's Rob Hill's right hand man. He's in charge of 150 people over there.
Yeah.
So then
They do some development here in Quincy too. I think. Does he have Steve? What's his name? Bob Hale. Steve?
Rob Hale.
Rob Hale. Yeah. Yeah.
He owns 4 buildings over
Yeah.
there.
He's doing some new development.
Really?
Yeah, in Quincy. Recent. I've
Yeah.
seen his name in the paper.
So when that happened, a friend of mine, Laurie Souza, who you know,
Yeah.
she is a dinosaur in the mortgage business. She was on retail, wholesale, still in wholesale, but knows everybody. And she said now that the telecom, is gone.
Yeah.
I went to Broadview for a minute, and then I went into Rob Hale. I'm at Robert Half. That was so when telecom left my life, I went into I got introduced to Joel Kornbleet. Joel
Yep.
Kornbleet was a good friend of Laurie Souza's
How did you know Laurie Souza?
from friends in Randolph.
Randolph.
Friends in Randolph. Yeah,
Randolph.
Susan O'Mara and Laurie Souza are still really good friends, and she introduced me to Laurie over the years, just from social
Yeah.
hanging out. And she said, you'd be really good as a loan officer. She said, you should go work with Green Park Mortgage. Susan O'Mara, who introduced us, was the closing manager there. The girl Kerry O'Connor, who I grew up with in Randolph, she was a processor. Patty O'Mara, Susan's sister, was one of the owners with Paul Gershkowitz. They were owners of the company, and Joel Kornbleet was their manager.
Yep. I've
So-
heard all those names.
Yeah, so for years, Joel was trying to get me to go to Green Park, and I just wasn't really ready. After years of Joel banging on my door, I said, I'll give it a try. So, and I went into Green Park Mortgage as a residential retail loan officer
On the retail side.
on the retail side.
Yeah.
And I did that.
So for those that don't know, a retail loan officer is the person that every Tom, Dick, and Harry calls when they want to get a mortgage for their house that they're going to buy, right?
Yeah, or refinance.
Yeah, or refinance.
Yep.
So that's
Yep.
that's retail. And what's wholesale? Wholesale sells to those guys.
Wholesale is the lender side of the loan officer that needs to lock a rate with a particular bank to help their buyer or their client that's refinancing. So
But the wholesale is not dealing directly with Tom, Dick, or Harry.
wholesale only deals with mortgage loan officers, mortgage brokers, particularly. Because if you work for a lender, the money is your own. You don't wait for reps to come in and
Right.
and
Buy you stuff. Well, not anymore, but back then.
sell their products.
Sell their product, buy you dinners, buy
All
you
of that.
wine and dine, and give you sweatshirts and hats and
Mhm.
trips and
So Laurie Souza gave me that nudge to go to Green Park Mortgage, and then I had a great time. It was a lot of fun. It was a great learning experience, and then as my first taste in the real estate world, I was hooked.
yeah.
I was hooked, and after 2 years of originating, Laurie Souza was my wholesale rep at Fremont Investment and Loan, and she.
Well, so you made a move then.
Yeah, I made a move. She came to me and said that her company was hiring, and she thought I'd be a great fit and go out on the road and visit loan officers and sell our bank products.
So now
And it
you
was
were
all
moving,
subprime too.
You were moving behind the scenes. You were moving off of the retail, out of dealing with mom and
public.
pop, and now
Yep.
you're just dealing with loan officers
Correct.
and selling Fremont's loan products.
Impact. Yeah. Programs. Yep. Stated.
Yeah.
Full doc.
Yeah, no.
bank
So
statement.
stated. Everybody, I'm sure, knows that 2006 to 2008 there was a big sort of recession caused by mortgage businesses, and stated was essentially you walked into the loan officers. Fremont and other companies had products where they said, just tell me what your income is.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to provide a W-2 or a tax return or pay stub or anything. You just said, I make, pick your number,
Right.
$250,000.
Stated income, stated asset. That was it.
Yep. So
And,
you told them I make $250,000. And I have
40 grand in the bank.
40 grand in the bank, and I have 100,000 in a 401k.
Yep.
And I'm going to sign this piece of paper, and you're going to believe me.
Correct.
Yep.
All based on FICO score too. That was the
FICO
part.
was the big part.
Yeah, because if you had over a 700, those default rates were so minuscule that, these people tend to pay their bills.
Yeah.
People that with, the career had to match what you were stating at least. You couldn't say, I am a cashier at Denny's and I make $216,000 a year.
Right.
You had to have there was a website that the underwriters used to go to confirm. In that range, okay.
Yeah,
we
so
believe that.
so
You've been
I,
there 8
yeah,
years.
Yeah. I was a lawyer. I fall in the 150 to 400 range.
Exactly.
So if I said I make $215,000, nobody would bat an eye.
Nope.
And I have a credit score of 750, and I want to buy a house for $500,000. You're going to give me a $400,000 loan without even thinking about it.
Exactly.
And you're going to do that a million times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we were getting those programs from Wall Street. They had orders to fill for their investors in the secondary market, and they would say, okay, hey, this month we would get a call from our corporate and say, look out for your faxes. They're coming through, and this is the program we want to. Yeah, we want to promote this product that we've already pre-sold. We pre-sold $1 billion of it. Now we got to fill the order.
Got it.
Wall Street had the appetite for that product, and then we would hit the streets to the loan office and say, hey, no one's going to beat this deal.
Right.
You have clients that can fit into this, program, and we can originate that loan and send it to our underwriter, fund that deal, and then the secondary market was satisfied because of the order that they had already
So they
placed.
so Wall Street got with, but that was in my mind, and this is probably a conversation for another podcast. That stated no doc stated loan product or program coupled with the appraisal process. That was those were the reasons why the whole thing. The shit hit the fan, for lack of a better term.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Because you could choose your own appraiser.
There
at
it
that
is,
point.
and that was I was going to say that you
Yeah.
could choose your own appraiser. So, you had loan officers. You had borrowers coming in, or potential borrowers coming in, saying I make $250,000 with no backup. Then you had loan officers going out to appraisers and saying, hey, I need this property to appraise at $500,000, even though it's really only worth $400,000.
Hey, and guess what? It came in at $500,000.
Came under 501 or 499.
Yep.
Now you've got a borrower who's shown no proof of their ability to pay, buying a home with an appraisal that may or may not have been inflated, and they were doing 80/20s at that time, right? So
Yeah.
80/20, for those that don't know, is an 80% loan to value on your first mortgage, and then a 20% second to cover the down payment.
100%
So
combined loan to value.
Yeah. So now put that.
No money in the game.
And again, not to get too far down the road on 08, but now you've got 100% financing, an inflated value of the property, and zero proof that the borrower could ever pay back the money that they're borrowing.
Ever.
Right?
Ever. On a 2-year fixed loan.
On a 2-year. And then something happens, that borrower loses his job or whatever, and now he stops paying, and now you've got a gluttony of punishment and a million foreclosures, and that's what happened.
Correct.
Yep. And for better or for worse, you were at one of those companies. You were at Fremont.
Yeah. Yep. For 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah. And then they were done.
Yeah, they were done. They were also publicly traded.
Yeah.
Another experience at a company that I was at that was delisted.
Yeah.
But I was actually
a running theme. The kid from Randolph just getting companies delisted.
I was actually sequestered by the Attorney General's office, and Fremont provided an attorney for me.
You were
I was deposed.
Yeah.
Deposed.
Sequestered is when you're put in a room and you can't talk or see anybody. That's what they do to juries on big cases. So like if you're a juror on.
I was deposed.
Make the biggest, they say, okay, well, we don't want you to read the newspapers. We don't want you to see the news. Mm-hmm. You got to go stay in a hotel. We'll provide you your food. You're sequestered for a week.
You
were deposed.
And so a week before the actual deposition, I was called into the lawyer's office to go through 200 questions that they thought might be asked.
Yeah.
8 hours, 4 hours, hour for lunch, 4 hours. A week later.
That was the prep.
Yeah, it was the prep.
8 hours of prep.
Yeah, they were just they grabbed 3 of the reps in Fremont that were doing well, and I happened to be one of them.
No particular reason other than you were a good salesman.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And there were 3 of us that got brought in, and I just kind of basically told them I didn't have any relationship with the owners of the company. I never really conversed. They wanted to know if I had any inside trading rumors, or did I know that the owner was unloading stock, 6 weeks before we got delisted? I didn't know any of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
You just knew you got a fax on a Monday morning and it said, go sell
Correct.
this program.
That's it.
And you went out and you hit the road
And that's it.
crushed it.
Yeah.
Absolutely crushed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you and
For years.
For 5 years, and
Yeah.
then they were delisted.
I remember my boss at the time, Pete Donato, who you know.
Yeah.
He took me and Kerry out to dinner, and when I went to the bathroom, I came back, and she had this really huge smile on her face. I'm like, what's going on? And he said, your husband's about to make more money than he's ever made in his entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Selling that product.
Selling that product, subprime, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of that's coming back. It's called non-QM now.
Yeah, but it's-
non-qualified mortgage. But
Coming back, but yes and no. There's no doc.
no, there's a lot more strict guidelines, but we're seeing 10-year interest only, non-owner occupied, 1 to 4 families on a 30-year amortization loan with 24 months bank statements and rent roll. I mean, they're still doing that.
They're trying to find a way around the current rate
Yeah,
market.
the
that's out
current rate environment. I
Yeah.
mean, they're going to get crushed if they do, Fannie or Freddie. They don't even have a product for that that they can.
But
even
also the
compete with.
appraisal process is different.
Oh yeah, you got to go through AMC.
Yeah, appraisal management company. That's essentially a quasi governmental agency that now dictates what appraiser is going to do the appraisals in certain towns. So back in the day, you used to be able to get an appraisal in Marshfield. Guy from Marshfield.
Call the
come over
Marshfield
and do
guy,
it.
yeah.
Now you get it doing appraisal in Marshfield. You could get a guy from Berkeley, right?
You can get a guy from California.
Yeah, you don't know.
You have no idea.
See what I did there?
Oh,
That was a little inside joke with root beer over here.
is she Berkeley?
Well, she is now, but that's a conversation for another day.
Oh, okay. All right. There's a great now that I'm into camping and glamping, I heard there's an RV USA store in Berkeley or something like that. I have to
That
check
sounds
out.
about right.
Yeah, it's probably that's it.
That sounds about right. All right, so
So then Fremont goes on, gone, and then I was put on Morgan Stanley.
Day.
Fremont became Saxon, which was another subprime company that we went to for about 6 months, and then was bought out by Morgan Stanley Home Loans, and they just said, "Hey, everybody, stay home. We're not sure what's going to happen to the market. Yeah. We're an A-paper company. You guys have no idea how to sell A-paper, but we don't want you to leave to go to a competitor."
Right.
Because no one was sure what was going to happen in the market. No one was sure.
So did they pay you to stay home?
For a year.
Cut the shit.
For a
Stop.
year.
Oh, come on.
For a year. I had to get on a conference call every Friday, but I stayed home for 1 year.
Was that Paulapalooza?
No, we're really not going to get into any of that, but...
Paulapalooza was right about the time you started to work with me.
So when Morgan Stanley Home
He
Loans...
won't touch it. I love
when
it.
Morgan Stanley Home Loans got on the phone with us after the year and said, "Okay, everybody, it's been fun.
You're done.
Friday's your last day."
Yeah.
And then I had a friend that worked over at Robert Half.
Yep.
I needed something to do.
Yeah.
But we got paid a lot of money to do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They took our best quarter of the previous year in sales at subprime, which was Saxon, because Fremont went down. Saxon grabbed the top reps and brought us in with Pete Donato. Pete Donato was the first guy they brought, and they said, "You need to grab
your best.
Your A team."
Yeah.
And we went. So they took the 3 best months that we had, and then they divided it by whatever number they came up with the calculation, and they gave it as a monthly income. Yeah. I think they took the 3 months, divided it by 3 or whatever it was, added them up, divided by 3, and that was what we can make for a month for a year. So it was decent money, and that all went under, and it was our last day. I knew a friend, Brad Gelnick, who worked for
Love Brad.
worked for Luke Howarth
Love Luke.
at Robert Half. Robert Half. Yeah. Temp agency. Recruiting. Headhunting.
Yeah. Accounting recruiting.
Accounting recruiting. Yep. Correct.
They were in Braintree.
Yep. So I was there for literally, I think, 90 days.
Yeah.
A cup of coffee, maybe.
That was now at 2009.
No, that was 8. Oh no, it was 9.
Yeah.
It was 9.
It was the beginning of 9.
Yep. It was 9.
It was probably January, February, March of 9.
Yep. and I had some health issues.
Yeah, you had a stroke.
I had a TIA stroke.
That's what my father just had. He's 80.
Really? Yeah.
Just had a TIA.
Oh, God. Yeah. So that was a long time ago. And then,
You're okay though.
yeah, medicated.
Yeah.
Yeah. My blood pressure's way down. They're gonna reduce my milligrams on that. They took me off cholesterol last year.
Look at you.
I'm down. I'm trimming up.
You look good.
So
Tan.
Luke Howarth was my boss at Robert Half.
Okay,
Right?
so the little nudge there, right? The connection there is Luke Howarth was my college roommate at Boston College.
Correct.
So, continue.
No, so he was my boss.
Yep.
Who knew you.
Yep.
And you were in criminal defense at the time.
That's right.
Sick of it.
Yeah,
Bur-
had
burnt
enough.
out.
Yeah,
Right?
hated my boss.
Yep. I
Wanted to
wasn't
punch
there.
him in his face.
Not sure that's appropriate, but
He knew it. He wanted to punch me in my face too.
so he knew what career I was coming from.
Yes.
He knew where he knew what business I was in before I went to Robert Half. And again, I went to Robert Half because I needed something to do. I needed to get out of the house. I was already home a year. That last Friday, I had no more money coming in. I didn't know what I was going to do. So Brad Gelnick introduced me to Luke Howarth. I meet Luke, he hires me. I worked there. Literally, I don't think I was there more than 4 months. Very, very brief amount of time. He tells me about you. Says we get along great. Says I have a friend that is looking to get into real estate law, and he's currently in criminal defense. And you have a real estate background from originating in loan officer relationships in the wholesale side, real estate agents. He said, I think you guys would make a good fit. He's looking to get out of criminal. You're looking to get out of this.
Yeah.
The recruiting. So we met at a restaurant next to the South Shore Plaza. It was, I don't think it was a Friday. I don't think it's there anymore. If you're coming into the garage. On the right. Yeah, whatever that was.
Yeah, I forget what
And
Chili's?
It might have been a Chili's. I don't remember.
Fridays, one of those chains.
So we met, Luke and I met
Yeah.
for lunch, and I want to say that was mid-March.
Yeah,
late
well,
March.
So it was we joined forces right around in March because like the second week I was going away.
So I think I was in the Crafty Company building in Plymouth on April 1st, and you were gone.
I was going on vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you asked me where I was going.
Yeah. He said to F'sville.
Yeah.
It's none of your business. I'm going to F'sville.
Yeah.
So I moved my desk into your office in a 200 room this big, 200 square feet, and I started working the phones and reaching out to loan officers to get them to, instead of selling the mortgage products as a wholesaler, and getting them to send us their clients' their clients' financing. I went to them and asked them to send us the title request.
Well, we started doing loan modifications.
True.
That was the real crux of it.
True, but I think at the same time you said, hey, listen, why don't you take all of your relationships with the loan officers and start trying to get them to send us requests
and Eric
for
Ritchie
title.
sent. Eric Ritchie was our first one.
Yeah.
Remember, I had to go back to the house like 3 times.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. And then Cheryl Salemi was a big first loan officer that started sending us and trusting us with a lot of business. Because when I was at Fremont, she was sending us a lot of deals. I never burnt a bridge. I never lost contact with mostly 90. I have cards from late 90s from loan officers that are still in shoe. I mean, I've saved everything.
Yeah, so I would say that looking back, that's one of your strengths is ability to maintain relationships with people that you may not speak to all the time or see all the time, but you're able to either reach
you
out
got
to
guys
them.
like that in your life. You don't see them for a decade.
Yeah,
and you just pick up right where you left off.
I do. I would agree, but less on a business standpoint than a personal standpoint for me, anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, so I just it's a good business trait. And it's a good business trait to have for anybody out there, really, in any profession.
You never know when
you
you're
never
gonna
know, and
need someone to reach out to.
It's not a terrible idea to pick up the phone and call a new person every single day,
right?
And just have a conversation with them and just keep in touch because you never know. All of a sudden, the Bill Gelnick pops into your life all the time. Brad Gelnick pops into your life all the time.
All the time.
There's a bunch of people like that pop in and out of your life all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, just a good trait to have.
It really is.
So we go.
Luke gave us that nudge.
Luke
I think
was
that was a common nudge that we had.
Yeah, but he pushed you over to me.
Yep.
And we started in 2009, and we went until about 2017. And we went from doing 0 closings a month to upwards of 30 or 40.
More money.
More?
We were the number 9 agent for First American Title Insurance in 2015.
Were we really? Yeah, that's right. You got that award.
Yeah, I think you still have it. I think it's in your office. But no, we got that award. We were the number 9 in remittance in the state of Massachusetts for First American Title Insurance.
But the best part of that,
I mean, we were up at like 40, 50, 60 deals a month.
Yeah, but before that, when we were doing loan modifications, remember we were featured in
Mass Lawyers Weekly.
Mass Lawyers Weekly.
Yeah, on the cover.
On the cover of Mass Lawyers Weekly. That I still have. I know that. I have a plaque with that on it because we were able to reverse a foreclosure.
Yeah, they rescinded a foreclosure.
Rescinded a foreclosure. First time ever in Massachusetts.
First one
happened.
in the state.
Yeah, we did it.
Yep. That was a lot of work.
That was a lot of work, but it was, at the end of the day, it was worth it for that family. And
absolutely.
we were so underpaid on that.
I know.
But so we built it up, and then, we went up, we climbed the ladder, and we hired a bunch of people, and we were managing a bunch of people.
Yep.
And
one of them was a relative of mine, Paul McRae, who we taught him everything he knows about the real estate business.
Yep.
Ended up getting him his real estate license.
Yep.
He became a police officer, hated it. He opened up Bluefin Realty.
Yeah.
He owns and operates that brick and mortar shop, and now he's a big developer. Flips. He develops. He's got a 30-unit project going on right now.
He borrows money from. He borrows some money from crowd lending.
He's a crowd lending client.
He's a crowd lending client. Is he no longer a police officer? Is he out of that?
He retired.
He did.
Once I don't remember the exact tenure, but once he got to a certain point, I think he qualified for benefits.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Was he there 10 years?
I'm not sure if he was there 10 years. He might have been there 8.
Yeah.
But I think he gets something from them, from the policemen's union. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
But he just didn't. Being a police officer in the last 5 years has been a very difficult job.
Yep.
I mean, no one would want to be one. And the ones that were or are wanted to get out. And as soon as they could, he got out.
Yeah, that was always his day job. He always wanted to be in real estate. He's a hustler. He liked to develop the development side of things. He
loved making money.
He loved making money. However,
making computers.
Yeah, remember? He made computers. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. But he loved to make money.
I remember when he was doing the summer. He got the summer cop job on the mountain bike.
Yeah.
He used to get dressed in our office before he would leave, and we would take pictures. We looked like you're going to a Halloween.
Yeah, because he had like the short, the bike.
Well, yeah, it just didn't look right on him. Like it didn't fit. We said it looked like you're going to a Halloween party. We take pictures of him standing there.
Poor kid.
Oh God, he was the ring bearer in my wedding.
Was he really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But,
he was a worker.
Still is, in the fact that he just loves money and loves making money. Real estate, he just became addicted to real estate.
Yeah.
Addicted. 90% of the millionaires in this world make their money off of real estate.
Yeah.
And he just really got the bug, and he's still doing it. Still doing it.
So we got to tell the story of our breakup because
it's not a story I like to tell. But I think it was a nudge for both of us to get to where we both are at this point.
There's no question. So I'll back up. And in 2015, Chris Schumara, who we will have on the show, he's upset that he's now going to be, at best, the 5th guest on my business partner.
At best.
At best. Gammons, you. I got a guy coming in next week. That'll be a good conversation. And then maybe he'll be 4th. But I think I'm going to have Kristen Daly on at some point.
Yep.
But anyway. So he came in and he had this idea of crowd lending, and I was ready to make a move.
Well, I think that really started back in like 13.
No, 15 it started.
The developing of the whole idea.
15 it started,
Okay.
and then 16 I was doing both, and that's when I kept saying to you, come with me, this is going to turn into
We were
something.
in our 4th, 5th office by then.
Yeah, yep. Plymouth, Pembroke, Hanover.
Pembroke, Hanover.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. Yeah.
Downstairs, then upstairs, and then Hanover.
Yeah, you're right.
So he came to you in 15.
15, I started working on it. I kept saying, look, if I'm going to do anything, I want you to come with me. I want you to come with me. You wanted to stay in your world, but
yeah.
So that was the nudge that you needed to get to do what you had to do, find your way, and it's the nudge that I needed to find my way.
Yeah.
Neither of us at the time knew it.
Right.
It was a sudden breakup.
Yeah.
It was,
I think one of my biggest parts of not wanting to get into that with you and go with you on that. It's just nerves and just being uneducated on the entire idea of the hard money.
Yep.
So I'm like, what am I going to do? Am I going to go learn a new career? I'm
Yeah.
going to go hit the roads again? I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been on this side for a decade with you.
Yeah, it's what you knew.
It's what I knew, and I just didn't know enough about it then.
Yep.
But I have an intricate knowledge of it, I think, at this point now.
You do, but you're also.
That was one of the reasons why your nudge to me wasn't. I didn't take the nudge to go that way.
Right.
And it was just a lack of understanding of how it all worked.
Lack of knowledge on your side.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the actual breakup, the physical breaking up, was like a boyfriend girl. Remember you came in with your friend and moved all your stuff out and you put it on.
Only because I couldn't get in after midnight.
We weren't talking.
No, it was a sad.
But it only lasted we could only stay away for 3 weeks.
That was it. Yeah, it wasn't very long.
No.
It wasn't very long.
Because we both knew that we both made the right decision for ourselves
at that time.
Yeah. In our lives, and
I think 99% of it was business.
No, it was all business.
Yeah.
If we could have worked side by side for the next 30 years, we would have done it. It was strictly business.
We only got in one fight in 10 years.
What was it about?
It was something silly, but we wrestled around. You rip your pants, and you had a closing to go into, and you had pants like the ones that the basketball guys whip off.
Yeah.
And your pant went from the hip all the way to the ankle, wide open, and you went into the conference room and actually did a purchase closing. So that's not bad. One fight in 10 years, I'll take it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But I'm a true believer that friends have to fight in order to be true friends.
There was one argument, and we just yelled "F you" 15 times back and forth from office to office, and that was in downstairs at Pembroke. But that's it. Physical ones, shouting ones. Yeah, that was incredible.
Could you imagine you go to a closing, your attorney walks in, his pants are all
sweating. He's sweating. He's gulping water, and his pants are ripped down the middle, down the side. Oh my goodness.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Congratulations on your purchase.
And then I'm asking, would you like some water? Can I get a copy of your ID? We were just wrestling around like honey badgers 10 minutes earlier.
Incredible.
But that was the right decision, I think, at the time for both of us, to get to where we are today.
Absolutely. So we both needed that nudge.
Yep.
I think we were both getting a little stale where we were.
Yep. I mean, we would do it because it was the two of us, and it was getting busy again, and we're doing 16 closings a week.
Yeah.
For two people.
It's a lot.
Your idea was always keep it small, keep it all.
Yeah.
And it worked. It worked for a long time.
It worked for a long, long time. And then you made the move to go to Stiles Law.
Yep, in the same town, Marshfield, Mass, that I live in.
Doing the same thing.
Same exact thing.
Do you think it was a mistake going to someone in the same town?
No, I don't think so. I really don't.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say anything bad about that decision to go there and work there. I'm not going to say anything bad about that law firm. But I was only there about 18 months, and we just didn't agree on a lot of different
procedural stuff,
procedural things, ideology of growing the business, and there were just a lot of other factors involved that were just something that I didn't see me doing much longer when I was there. When those things started coming up.
So as I was sort of watching.
I mean, that's a really bad, way of saying that it didn't work out there.
Yeah.
But there were just a lot of different things that were not right for me.
Yeah.
And in doing so much with crowd lending, on a east of the Mississippi, geography, the way that the geography of your business was growing, I was handcuffed to just Massachusetts at the time.
Yeah.
And with crowd lending growing so much, I didn't want to
miss
out or lose that business.
Yeah.
So I made a decision to start looking around and then started sending some of that business to another company.
Yeah.
Because of the national coverage.
So
you were doing loans in Illinois, Pennsylvania, Florida.
We've actually tightened up from there, but that's a little bit of a nudge that pointed you in the next direction, right?
Correct.
Sort
I
of.
didn't want to miss out or lose or turn down any of that out of Massachusetts business.
Yeah, yeah.
So that nudge to capture that business allowed me to reach out to other title and real estate conveyancing companies that were on a national level.
Yeah.
And I made the move to go to Equity National Title. And that was the nudge to go with them because of the national footprint.
Right.
And you guys were, branching out into
Right.
over 10 states at the time.
Well, you had to stop at Res Title for half a cup of coffee, right?
Went to Res Title. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I stand corrected. I went to Res Title because of the national footprint. And then,
And then Sinc.
no, and then, oh yeah, sorry, Res Title to Sinc Law because Res Title, I think they had 14 branches at the time in April of 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic. The owner decided to shut down, I think, 9 out of the 14 branches, and commercial lending, hard money lending, commercial lending was done. So he kind of hit the panic button.
Yeah.
And I parted ways with him very quickly after that. But it was and again, working with Res Title on a national level was a great experience. Traveling, going to all the mortgage shows, the trade shows. Got to exposure to a lot of different types of hard money companies out there, like crowd lending. But that was another great stepping stone to get to where I am now.
Yeah. And so
At Sinc
So
Law.
over the last when you were with me and subsequently with Styles and so on and now with Sinc, you're essentially doing the same business, right? You're trying to drive business to those law
Business
firms. You're
development.
business development. You're going out and asking mortgage brokers to send you deals and send
Real estate agents.
Yeah. So it's the same model.
The same exact model.
Yeah. And so as I was sort of watching it from afar, my concern was that you weren't going to land somewhere that you'd be happy at because you were kind of bouncing around a little bit. I know that's sort of the nature of that, but I'm happy now that it seems like you got a pretty good home at Sinc Law.
Great, yeah. Bill Sienkiewicz, the owner and attorney, is wonderful. He's great.
Yeah,
He's
he
really
does.
good.
You guys do a lot of our closings.
Yes.
Do an awesome job. We know that we can reach you at any time.
Yep.
I think when you came here today, you were dropping off a package, right?
Sure,
Which
sure,
that type of service we don't get.
Right. I love coming here though. This is I've been to a lot of. This is a really nice office.
Yeah, they did it. We did a good job with
This
it. They
is.
did a good job.
I
with it,
love
yeah.
coming here. This office is so nice. This is. It's a what's those beds that come out of the wall? It's a Murphy bed away from being an Airbnb. I swear to you, this could be on Verbo. You could live here.
You could live here.
It's got its own personal gym and
Got a
kitchen. It's
got
a
a
Murphy
shower.
bed away from me being an Airbnb. Yeah, I've
like
stayed in
that.
crappier Airbnbs.
I like
put it that way.
I like that. So what's next for Paul McRae? I mean, where are we? You got two girls.
I got a camper.
You got a
For
camper.
the summer, we're trying that for the first time ever this summer.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
There's a lot of Randolph guys involved in that. Couple.
5 other sites contiguous to our spot are down there with us.
Randolph guys.
All Randolph. Well, 1 Randolph girl and 4 Randolph guys and me.
That you grew up with.
Yeah, all Randolph. Yeah, and by accident, total coincidence that they all got those spots.
But also, there must have been some communication that they were all going to the same campground. I mean,
Correct.
you didn't just arrive there.
But the site is by lottery.
The site is by lottery.
Correct.
And that's how it happened.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Somebody did. I'm not believing that.
That's the word I heard.
No.
That's the word I
Nope.
heard. Yep.
Someone was behind closed. Does your lot doesn't change every year, does it?
No,
So once you get it, you got it.
until you don't want it anymore.
Yeah, and then it goes back into the lottery,
Correct.
and someone else could get it.
Yeah, unfortunately, there are a lot of people that have been there for decades and decades, and they're of the older generation. They're they're old people, and some of them they do pass away.
They're
They're just old, and they've been there for 50 years, and
Right.
they're on sites that, in campers that are grandfathered in.
Yeah,
Their location and their additions, like they put wooden additions on,
right.
like windows, like Andersons.
Yeah,
Houses. Houses with skylights.
yeah.
And so recently, there's been 2 sites that have become unfortunately vacant due to someone dying.
Yeah.
So there's believe me, these lot lizards, they have their eyes on it.
Oh, really?
There's a line of people like banging on the door to talk to the descendants to see what are you going to do with the camper. What are you gonna do?
Now, once you have it, can you sell it, or if you move?
You can sell it.
You can.
You can sell it. Yep.
Okay.
But if you don't and you just give it up,
Then
It
it
goes
goes
in the
back in the
lottery.
back
Yep.
in the lottery. But if you
Correct.
want to sell, why wouldn't you sell it? It's an asset.
yeah,
Who knows, right? Someone might die and they don't have any
Exactly.
descendants, so nobody wants to deal with it or whatever.
exactly. They don't want to
Or
clean
they
it
can't
out or
afford it
whatever.
anymore, and
You
know,
never know.
you know.
You never know. It's cheap though. It's not that expensive. It's really.
you go down there every weekend.
We've been down. So it opens May 1st till October Columbus Day weekend, whatever date that falls on.
Yeah.
So we've been down since May 1st. We went down 3 times because we were almost done renovating it. So we went down 3 weeks, didn't stay over, and just fix it up, painting, reupholstering, things like that. New floor. But so we went down last weekend for 2 nights with the kids.
Do they like it down there? I mean, they're kind of.
It was the first time they'd both been down there together, and Rowan's 19, so
Yeah.
she
She's-
sucked it up because it was Father's Day weekend.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that was the only reason. You know, she
'Cause when you
she
were
ended up
19
having a good time.
Because when you were 19, you were, treating your mother's house like a hotel. So.
I was living in Boston.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And now you weren't her go down to camper and play checkers with Dad while he's got whoobies on his feet or something.
I'm going to tell you what the hit of the weekend was. I brought down ping pong. People were lining up to play ping pong.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Winner stays.
Yeah, I mean, you do best of 3, whatever. You could do whatever you want. It's
Well, I
camping.
mean-
Yeah, no, it
I'd
was
wanna
the
do winner
hit
stays.
of the weekend. Some of the kids woke up at like 7 a.m. beeline for the. Can we play ping pong? Can we play ping pong? Like beeline to
To
it.
get on the ping pong table.
Just to play all day.
What
yeah.
was Rowan doing?
Rowan, she played some ping pong.
Yeah?
Yeah, she played. She was on her phone a lot, texting.
Yeah.
You know. in
How
the
do I get
room.
out of here? I'm stuck. My father's
Come
a
help
jerk.
me.
Yeah.
Come
Where
out,
are
sending
you?
up smoke signals.
Are you close?
No. We had a good time. Went down to the beach at the lake and
Evie just dominating the ping pong table.
dominated everything. Dominates.
Evie's Paul's younger daughter,
I ran into
who she's a soccer player, right?
She is. I ran into one.
Quit softball because it was too easy and boring. for her.
Boring.
Yeah.
Boring. They were walking her.
Yeah.
That
They
was
wouldn't
the
pitch
thing.
to her.
Wouldn't pitch to her. Nope.
She was in like 4th grade and they were in like 6th.
The coach came to our house, knocked on the door, and wanted to talk to her individually.
Yeah, about playing.
Yeah, he wanted her back on the team. Yeah. But so I ran into one of her friends the other day, and they said, "Oh,
Whose friend? Evie? Or
Evelyn's one of Evie's friends." And she said, "Oh, yeah, Evie's dad." And she goes, she beats the boys in gym." And I said, "Like what?" She goes, "I don't know. She was broomball champion. She was the badminton champion, doubles and singles. She was the archery champion." I go, "Archery?" Evie goes, "Yeah, who knew?" Yeah, who knew? Now I got to get her into archery.
Just good at everything.
She plays violin. She's on private cello in Duxbury at the South Shore Music Conservatory over there. She does cello. Piano, has 2 electric guitars.
Got all the talent.
She told me this morning, I picked her up on her last day of school today. She had 2 finals. She had Spanish and she had strings, violin. She goes, "Dad," she goes, "got an 87 on my my Spanish final." And I said, "Oh, that's great." She goes, "I only needed a 50 to get an A- for the year." Yeah. And then and I go, "How'd you do on strings?" She goes, "I found out after. I didn't even have to take it and I could have got an A-." She didn't have to show up. Yeah. So she's got.
What's going on with the neighbor?
I don't know. Oh, new neighbor. Jimmy Walsh played for the Ottawa NHL Senators at the time.
Yeah.
I think he played 82, 83, 84. Jimmy Walsh, great guy. Moved in New Year's Eve this past year.
Nice.
Yeah, I just borrowed his power washer last week to do my pool over.
Incredible.
Yeah, he wanted a swim in the pool after, so I got to get him over there. But interesting character, I think his parents, I heard, own a big construction company, Walsh Construction. I don't know. Oh, any relation to?
I don't think so.
To root beer
over
float?
there? I don't know.
No. Okay. Well.
Berkeley's finest.
Yeah.
Root beer.
But he's got a boat and he loves to garden and his yard's immaculate right now and great guy. But how good you got to be to just get in the game?
Yeah.
You know a lot of kids that went over there.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So I can't wait to talk to my neighbor Jimmy Walsh a little bit more about it.
Yeah.
When I get his ear, but it should be interesting.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, Paul.
Hey, thanks for having me. Like I said, I love coming in here.
You're the second guest on Everybody Needs a Nudge, and
Yeah.
as I like to say, you go through life, and there's going to come time in your life where you need a little help or you need to talk to somebody, because as we all know, everybody needs a nudge.
And by the way, you were the biggest one.
I was,
The biggest
and
one.
you were my nudge.
Yeah.
We were each other's nudges.